Back and bigger than ever. It's the Unofficial 40 from Soonerscoop.com. Now, here's the entire Sooner Scoop crew. Carey, Josh, Eddie, and
George.
All right, welcome back. It is another edition of the Unofficial 40 podcast right here on Soonerscoop.com from lovely historic Campus Corner. Studios on site. And yeah, it's a great day to have a podcast. And sorry we're a little day late this week, but we thought you guys might want to see, hear about our viewing of the OU football team and their first spring practice. Got underway yesterday. Josh McCuistion may or may not join us. He's got some stuff going on. He's getting ready to head out of town this weekend for camps. And we welcome in Eddie Radosevich and George Stoya, who are obviously, by the practice reports. We're out at camp or out at practice last night. We got to see, I don't know about you guys, but I know this is how we get in. And I went on a little bit of a rant this morning about this, but it's a storyline. Obviously, John Mateer's throwing motion. But can we just, for a moment, I know everybody plays to that and everybody wants to read about that. And I feel like it's gotten into a lot of the fan base's heads, like the throwing motion was the problem last year. But you know what the problem was last year? John Mateer had freaking surgery in the middle of the season.
Well, and he threw it to the wrong team.
Yeah,
too often.
And he missed open receivers.
Yeah, and,
It's look, he's going to have balls batted down. He's not 6'4", he's not 6'5". Baker had balls batted down. Would you like for him to throw more straight over his shoulder? Sure. But every quarterback in this day and age makes kind of off-platform throws. Now, the jump passes and stuff like that, some of that, I get it. I get why people are like, okay, that's ridiculous.
It's all of it, though, right, Carey? I think everything needs to improve. His mechanics need to improve. The one thing that I thought was a bigger problem for him last year than just the sidearm. The sidearm was what it was.
He said his feet and his eyes.
It's
all
his
the
feet.
time.
It's his feet to me that I think need more fixing in terms of just staying in the pocket and looking downfield.
Anybody that's been in a sport. I played baseball for a long time. A quarterback. Anybody that throws a ball, the ball goes where your feet and shoulders tell it to go. Mm-hmm. And when you're throwing the ball and your feet, unless you're Sam Bradford, who was like one of the best I've ever seen at accuracy when his body wasn't rolling left and throwing with accuracy, Sam Bradford, hands down, the best I've ever seen. And John Mateer, Baker Mayfield, they can do that stuff because they're athletic, but you don't want to do it all the time. You don't want to put yourself behind the eight ball. You want to be able to step into throws, especially in the SEC at this level, against good secondaries with NFL personnel. Every little inch matters. And if you're throwing with better mechanics, you have a better chance of being a better quarterback.
So then your original point stands that people are not overreacting.
I think a little bit.
They're
putting all their eggs in the mechanics basket.
Yeah, I think that if the mechanics improve, if the mechanics improve, that's great. I think that he'll be a better player. But ultimately, I think the biggest issue is, one, he had hand surgery. I think that played a huge part in what he did in the second half of the season. And then I think his decision-making. And he talked about both those things. That, to me, was the bigger one. And talking to him yesterday, him sitting down with Brent Venables and going through film and understanding defenses, that, to me, is a bigger deal than, hey, his arm is moving, a little closer to his ear than a year ago.
And the other thing about it, and when we would talk to him in post-game settings or post-game settings, if, he had a bad game or, the team hadn't played well, the offense didn't move the ball, through the air a lot, his confidence was hurt last year. And I think we saw that from Dylan Gabriel his first year at Oklahoma. There's something to be said what these guys go through becoming quarterbacks at the University of Oklahoma on the shoulders of Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray and Jalen Hurts and go back to Sam Bradford and Jason White. They're walking by statues every day of quarterbacks that have played here since they've been born.
It went okay last year. They won 10 games.
They went to the playoffs.
I know the key to the season. I think it's like everything. It's not just fundamentals. It's, do you have playmakers around you? Can you run the football? Which block? I think you look back at some of the issues that Oklahoma had, I think would have been alleviated just staying out on the field by being able to run the football. When you're going 3 and out and it's kind of like the conversation we had about all the wide receivers last year and how they weren't able to get a whole lot of bodies out there is because they were going 3 and out all the time because you couldn't run the football. So I think he's going to be a better quarterback in 2026, and it's going to be not just because he's better fundamentally or because he can read a defense, but because the entire product as a whole is going to be better.
And that's kind of why I asked him about the tight end room yesterday. And John's not the guy that's going to throw anybody under a bus, but he didn't have anyone at the tight end position to help them become a better running team a year ago.
Running or even a pass. I mean, I know Kanik obviously helped him in the passing game, but they didn't have a big body target.
No,
like this.
There were
Safety
very
valve.
particular situations where they had to utilize somebody like a Jaron.
Yeah, and that to me, guys, and I know we've talked a lot about the tight end room this whole offseason, but just going out there and seeing them in pads, it's night and day. It's night and day from what they had a year ago in terms of just the sheer size. I have no idea. I saw some people commenting like, "Oh, Trinae Washington looks slow." How the hell do we know? He's running on air.
Yeah.
And nobody here is saying Trinae Washington's going to go out there and just be an All-American, but the fact that you have 3 tight ends that are over 260 pounds, that's not a bad thing.
I mean, look, Trinae Washington has done a great job putting muscle on. Now, does he have the body fat, that Van Dorsleer has? No.
He's their best looking tight end,
he
by the way.
looks incredible. He does not look as incredible catching the ball, though.
Yeah, we'll see if he can catch the football. But Hayden Hansen, I think he's your guy, but he's massive.
And I like what I saw to Rocky Beers.
Rocky Beers. Rocky Beers, your comparison to Jake Roberts, that's a pretty good one. I think he's in that same category.
I did call him Reagan probably before I made that comparison.
You did. But still, it was a good comparison.
But anyway, Eddie, I know you got the camera, but you and I are kind of talking as we go along. I don't want to make this like a quarterback love fest. I liked what I saw out of Bo Bentley, but he just went out there and threw the ball. I don't want to make a big deal out of it. I mean, I like his release. He was a little thicker than I thought he was, even after seeing him and interviewing him. But he's still a guy that's smallish. I mean, he's not ready to be out there yet.
He's a freshman.
Yeah.
He should be in high school right now.
He should.
I don't know. You're obviously this season's going to live and die by how John Mateer plays. I don't know how many more times that's going to need to be said in between now and August or, even into July with the SEC Media Day. But I think from just off the hoof of just being out there looking at guys, that's about as good. And I feel like we say this every year, but they're closer to what it should look like, or from what I envision it looking like from just a size perspective. Even the wide receivers, I thought that Isaiah Satania looks a little bit bigger. I don't know if that's just him wearing the one uniform and you're still trying to get used to that, but I don't know. It's definitely going to be kind of an interesting spring to see how this comes together. So I was super impressed with the running back group just from a physicality standpoint. I thought Xavier Robinson looked fantastic.
Yeah, I thought Xavier looks good. I thought Jonathan Hatton and DeSeven Walker for a true freshman.
DeSeven Walker looks amazing.
Yeah, I thought Hatton looked amazing. I mean,
yeah.
And it's always tough because we come back and we're like, oh, so-and-so looked amazing. So-and-so. It's it's really hard. It's the first day.
It's hard for your brain to register numbers and
one of the biggest takeaways
that
I had, guys, was, and I think it's going to be, I want to ask Brent about this, and we've talked a lot about it, the point of emphasis in running the football. And we got to stay and watch the half line drill, which is that half of the offensive line, half of the defensive line inside drill. Did you guys catch what they were running scheme-wise?
No, I wasn't.
No, I didn't.
A lot of outside zone, which they have not been running. And I find that very interesting that they were running some outside zone, some counter stuff. I don't know. I just
kind of goes back to what McCullough was talking about when he was talking about working with
Kevin
Ben
Wilson.
Arbuckle and Kevin Wilson.
Yeah, Kevin Wilson.
But in terms of working with Kevin Wilson, going back to his days at Indiana, I think that they are going to have new ideas within what they want to be able to do from a run standpoint. And I don't know, as bad as it's been over the last couple of years, I think you should be pretty open to trying anything.
Yeah.
And especially kind of going back to your article, George, that you wrote a couple of weeks ago about John Mateer's usage. They have to find a way to be able to run the football with running backs this year.
But you're right. Everything was encouraging, at least. And the other thing we did notice is Dylan McCullough working a lot on pass blocking with the running back, especially the young running backs.
And I think, that's something DeMarco
Yeah, he did.
Was very well known for actually.
Yeah, you wouldn't play if you didn't do it.
Yeah, so I just thought it was interesting. That was kind of their main focus yesterday, but he's certainly a little different than DeMarco was in terms of coaching. Jason Witten was awesome. I mean, I spent a lot of time watching him.
Spent a lot of time teaching.
That's another thing I want to ask Brent, because Brent was standing over there watching him. I'd love to just pick Brent's brain on what do you learn from watching Jason Witten coach?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's somewhat
I think it's even a broader question. I was thinking about this last night. He spent so much time just with offensive groups.
The whole time.
What is he taking? Why is he doing it? What is he taking from that?
Yeah.
Is he?
I think Brent knows
the offensive side of the ball is where they're going to get better.
They have to get better. They have, because I think he trusts that the defense, and one, he has the coaches on the defensive side. The only coach he's ever had leave is Valai. I think he very much trusts the coaching staff on that side to get those guys ready to play, and you got a lot of veterans over there. I think he knows the key to next year is fixing the offense, and we saw yesterday. I mean, he spent a ton of time with the tight ends, running backs who's over there. He ripped Ryan Foje's ass during the half-line drill. I won't say exactly what he was saying, but basically, if you don't get better, how the hell are we going to run the football? So I think that he gets it. And I'm sure today maybe he's over with the defense, whatever, but I think it's very obvious that Brent, and the way that he's talked this offseason, is that he knows the offense has to take a massive leap if they're going to reach higher goals.
Hey, we want to take a time out real quick from the Unofficial 40 to tell you guys about a couple of our premier sponsors that are with us each and every week here, all throughout the year on the Unofficial 40. One of them makes Eddie see things that you just can't see.
Let me tell you about my good friends over at Enjoy Vision. I don't know if I've done that before. Spring is springing, Sooner fans. It certainly feels like that outside. Patty chasing another national championship. Spring game is back, coming up on April 18th. If OU sports are the reason for the season, LASIK and lens replacement at Enjoy Vision are your ticket to seeing it all clearly. Whether you were born a boomer or a little sooner, Enjoy Vision provides personalized vision correction for every generation. Don't get benched by contacts or reading glasses. Schedule your free LASIK or lens replacement consultation and join Gen C at enjoyvision.com. That is the letter NJOY, vision.com. Enjoy Vision. This is where Sooner Scoop gets a fresh perspective.
By the way, Eddie said this. It's not me. It's on Eddie. He said that he watched the national championship team practice yesterday inside the Everest Indoor Facility. And
first reported.
As the OU team is getting ready to make a championship run, they're gearing up for it. You can start your own run with Cody Drug RX. Whether you're looking to drop weight, boost energy, or just feel better heading into 2026, Cody Drug has got you covered. They've got multiple custom compounded peptide-based weight loss options, including popular GLP-1 medications and performance-focused peptides to help you recover faster, burn fat, and stay sharp. I think that's why Britt practiced indoors. He thinks the recovery is better. It was they got the air conditioning in there. It was kind of nice. Cody Drug, hey, they also love teaming up with Oklahoma med spas and longevity clinics to deliver high-quality peptides quickly, safely, and with top-tier service. So while the Sooners, they're not chasing a title, they're winning a title. That's according to Eddie Radosevich, not me. Let's chase our titles together. Visit CodyDrugRx.com to learn more and see how you can get started. Cody Drug, personalized medicine built for champions. And go check out our buddy Will walk you through maybe some things that help you live a better day-to-day life at Cody Drug RX on Instagram. Back to the Unofficial 40.
I did like looking across, and they were all the way across the other side of the field, so we weren't able to get a whole lot of video of it. But just running out the first team offensive line. Hello, Josh. How are we?
I'm good, fellas. I've enjoyed the conversation. I'm just like a fan piggybacking right
I just
now.
saw you over there. It's kind of interesting, and I think that we kind of knew this going in, but Marion Harris at right tackle. You had Ryan Foje indeed moving inside at right guard. Jake Mikula, and I thought it was kind of interesting talking to him just about the weight loss a year ago with the infection. And then right guard, or left guard, EPL, and Michael Fasusi, obviously, who looked the best out of all of them yesterday.
And I wonder what that means for Heath Ozaida. I mean, I think it means that he's like a swing guard.
I think he's definitely going to play.
I also think he's competing first. Like, I don't think
because
it's just...
How many times have we walked into a spring ball or even into the beginning of preseason camp in August?
Then it's somebody else.
And then it's somebody else in there.
I think he's definitely pushing Foje and EPL for
but it feels like it's good depth. And I'm still kind of interested to see where they end up with the kid from Georgia Tech, the Peyton kid.
Yeah, Peyton Joseph.
We have never seen Bill Bedenbaugh start out camp with one lineup and finish with a lineup, especially in spring.
Yeah.
It just doesn't
It
happen.
does feel like, though, the talent that they have up there, if you told me that was going to be the starting line from start to finish.
That's what you put down
like,
on paper.
barring any type of injury, right? I could buy into that idea.
It's talent, but it's also experience. Like, think of how many of those guys, they all played last year in meaningful games, meaningful snaps, other than a Marion Harris, who, though, has played in the SEC, whereas like a year ago it was like, well, it might be Jacob Sexton, who can't stay healthy, or is Jake Taylor in the mix?
You've still got guys like EPL that have been ripped out of games and benched. I mean,
and as much as like even the new guys that we were talking to that are coming in at the mid-year, Marion Harris, I think, was one of them. Certainly that we talked to at the newcomer day, media day. Like Eddie Pierre-Louis, it seems like, is one of those guys that I think we'll talk to quite a bit because he's pretty good in front of a mic. But he is, I think, seen as a leader in that group, which I think is probably the only thing that you worry about, that they don't have somebody that has been around. Like, I mean, the veterans of the group are guys that started as freshmen last year, outside of Jake Michael, obviously, who was at Stanford.
And, I mean, Marion Harris has played. I mean, I don't know if he's the leader of that group, but
you know what was interesting is and this doesn't always come up, but we'd asked, we wanted to talk to an offensive lineman. We didn't ask for Jake Michael. I think we asked for Eddie Pierre-Louis yesterday. Fasusi.
Yep.
And they gave us Jake Michael, which kind of could indicate like, okay, these are the guys the coaches went out there at the first. Like Taylor Wine was a guy we talked to.
Peyton Bowen.
I definitely think those 5 that we talked to yesterday.
We're going to talk a lot to them.
That might be your captain group.
Yeah.
Like, but there's some particulars in there that you could make an argument for, like other guys. But I think that those are the kind of the guys.
But that tells you a lot about Jake Michael, I think, and what they think about how big of a leadership role he can have.
And I can see like Fasusi, and you can mix and match from the offensive line. I think
Fasusi will be
put out there.
Fasusi, by the time if he plays 4 years, like people are going to be afraid of him. He's going to be such a leader.
He looked so good yesterday.
I could see Fasusi and Foje and those guys. I mean, EPL is already getting there, but like people not wanting to screw up so those guys don't jump down their asses.
It's still though like the offensive line. As good as they look, or on paper we like them, it's still to me a big question mark.
Yeah,
like they still have to
crown anybody.
Yeah.
What's the best case scenario, Josh, for that offensive line? Like, could they be upper tier of the SEC, like top 4? Top 5?
I've looked around a little bit at this, and it'll surprise you how highly OU ranks in like returning snaps. Like there are a lot more there than I think people realize as it relates to other teams in the conference. There's not a lot there with some of these teams. I do like, and I think you guys were talking about it a second ago, and I think it's a really good point. We've never seen a year, I mean, not many, when Bill started with what he finished with, but when you think about those really good groups, that's pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
Like you kind of knew going in, those were your guys. And I know people say, why didn't you do that every year? It's not that simple. Like, not every year do you have it where it's pretty clear. Guys, I think there's one guy that is not in that starting 5 you talked about yesterday, or whatever you want to call yesterday. The first 5 out there in the field, however you want to say that. Heath Ozide is the only one that I really think could take somebody's job. Like, that's the only thing I see.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I think
unless
like
Afalava or somebody really comes along. I mean,
yeah,
he's 365 pounds though, and I think he's going to need to lose some weight if he's going to play.
Well, we should say,
what did that look like? Like getting to see him, was it?
I'll be honest.
There's some work that needed to be done.
I don't remember seeing him yesterday.
Okay,
and
that's not to mean that he wasn't out there by any means.
UK Dan was on a scooter. I mean,
yeah, there was a couple of guys, and that's the tough thing is you look at it like quote unquote starters or whatever you want to call it during those individual periods, or even like the mini team portion of the practice, and you don't have Jaden Jackson out there, you don't have David Stone, PJ Adebore wasn't out there. There's just a number of guys that are going to play meaningful snaps for this team that weren't out there yesterday, and I don't think there's any reason to be concerned about that. I mean, it was the first spring practice.
Obviously, I missed the first portion of this. I don't know how long you guys have been going when I finally got in, but I got to say that the thing that maybe encouraged me the most of watching the report with you all yesterday, Nigel Smith,
yes.
really is ready to be a guy. That's crucial if they could get him to be to be a difference maker.
I thought him and Trent Wilson looked really good, and even Bishop Thomas. Nigel Smith looks really big. He's listed at 295. He looks bigger than that, and he just looked like he was moving really well, Josh. And him and Trent Wilson were the two, because David Stone and Jaden Jackson are out right now, which minor deals. I don't think they're going to be out long, and honestly, I'd put those guys in bubble wrap till August. But Nigel Smith and Trent Wilson were like leading the drills, so they were kind of the two guys at defensive tackle, and I thought both looked really good. And then Bishop Thomas just isn't, like, he's not going to wow you with his size, but he made a couple plays in the half-line drill that you're like, oh, I can see why they like he definitely has the Grayson Halton build, like his body size. I don't know. I mean, obviously Grayson Halton's going to be like a day 2 draft pick. I'm not saying Bishop Thomas is not that guy, but if you can get those three guys to give you 10-ish snaps a game, 10 to 15, and then you just lean on David Stone and Jaden Jackson, you can live with that. That's a really good unit.
I would say, Josh, how many times did you see Brian Harris in person?
I don't think I didn't actually. I was supposed to, and then he moved schools, and it changed the whole thing up for me, and I didn't get to see him.
I mean, I liked what I saw out of him yesterday. He's a bigger guy for a freshman, but he's not quite there yet, as opposed to like Matthew Nelson, where if you look at him on the roster now, like if you imagine, okay, 6'5", but he's 232. Like, imagine what that looks like, and maybe go a little smaller. Because, I mean, he is, like, very long everywhere, but he does not have – I mean, he looks to me – I'll tell you whose body type he has is is not quite as filled out. Marvin Jones Jr. That's what he reminded me of, just body type.
Okay. I could buy that. I know what you're talking about there, yeah. And I saw Marvin I just – because OU was heavily in there when he was a senior. I remember Marvin at basically the same age, and that's
he's probably
that
bigger than Marvin
sense.
was, at that age. So
what about IT? Isaiah Thomas? Mm-hmm. A little bit,
yeah,
maybe a little bit skinnier.
When he was younger,
yeah, like coming out of high school.
But I could see him developing into that body.
IT
type.
just had his his shoulders were just so large,
his chest was so broad.
And I would say Matthew's a little more fluid athlete, but like body type, very similar. Like, and I know that's kind of a different conversation, but again, like that's one of the reasons they identified him. He was a track guy, like a legit track guy at that size. So
if we're just naming guys that looked really impressive, I was kind of blown away by what James Nestus turned his body into. Like, you can tell that he's not playing baseball anymore, just completely focused on lifting and getting bigger, stronger. Him and Taylor Heim, both. I thought they certainly looked the part if they're going to take that next step in evolution into more meaningful snaps.
Also, Cole Sullivan just looks great.
He's just so
huge. He looks like Danny Stutzman out there, especially with the 18.
Somebody said it on the board. He's taller.
Yeah, he's tall.
Way taller and way longer.
He's taller.
Way longer than Danny.
I just think it's the eights.
Huge.
Danny was one of those guys.
The
like,
what?
The eights.
Oh,
they both had 28
I thought you
and 18.
said something else.
Danny's one of those
playing
guys.
With AIDS. I thought that was going to be an impressive story.
Danny was one of those guys. Like when he'd come over to the office every once in a while, do some NIL stuff.
Danny's a big guy.
Like his chest is broad. Like his shoulders are wide. Like everything about him is big.
I mean,
but
Steve's a big guy.
Yeah, but he's just like Danny. I think Cole's a little bit more. I don't know, like his arms are a little bigger.
He's not like smaller by any means.
No.
Like it's just it's weird to kind of differentiate the two because
Danny's more compact and Cole's more just outstretched.
He's just a monster of a human.
Yeah. But they're both big
and I feel like such a poser because you guys got to be in there and see it. But just watching the video, and I've watched Sights and Sounds a couple times. Like I've gone through some of it trying to get a better feel. But the guy that, and I know you guys see him all the time, so maybe it doesn't jar you. Taylor Heim, I can't process that that's him. Like he looks so different than the kid I remember. Like it's crazy to see what they've done with him in a couple of years.
Yeah, I just feel bad because I didn't get to see the linebackers. They were the furthest thing away, and with me taking photos, I'm trying to get guys that I can get really in frame. or DNs and linebackers both over there in that same area where they're hard, to get into. Did
you see C.J. Nixon's listed at 270?
Yeah, and I wanted to find him, and I never really got a good shot of him.
I think the DN room has a chance. I mean, you need a couple guys not having PJ out there sucks. And I believe Brent mentioned at Media Day that he had some sort of surgery.
And PJ was out there
afterwards,
in the post, not work, but like leading groups and stuff. So he's active.
But they need him. They need him to be a guy. But with Taylor Wine, you look out there and it was Taylor Wine and Danny Okoye. Who Danny Okoye looks great. He put on another 8 or 9 pounds, I think, this offseason. I think he's going to be a monster. But after that, I kind of like some of the potential in that room. I think C.J. Nixon could have a role. I thought Jake Krell looked good for a freshman. Kenny Ozawalu got hurt early in practice. I think it was just cramping. And I think that he's kind of a wild card. You can play him on the edge. You can play him inside. But
he was back out there, too, when PJ was doing all that stuff after practice. So I don't think it was anything too major.
I'm just curious because that Wine, Okoye, and PJ are all going to play a lot. I wonder who's that fourth guy? Who could be somebody that comes in special situations and gets some snaps? But I will say, too, I like the linebacker room. But, boy, it would help him to get Heineke. It would help. And I guess we haven't talked about that on the pod since that went down on Monday. But
is it crazy to say that, I know that one guy isn't going to change completely what they do defensively next year, but just having somebody with the playing experience that Owen would bring back to the
knowledge
program,
the knowledge of the defense. To call the defense. Because he would be, if he comes back, he's your green dot, and that's a big deal to have that back, to have the guy who's the voice in the middle.
And the versatility that he brings in, like we were talking about, maybe playing Cole Sullivan over at Cheetah. I think with Owen Heineke, this defense next year, and it's going to be a big step, but I think they can be better than they were a year ago.
Yeah.
I think
it's just going to depend on, are they better with David Stone, Jaden Jackson at full strength than they were as a whole with Grayson Halton?
And that's the big question,
and
that's why the defensive tackle, I brought them up, and defensive end. What made that defense great last year was the depth they had up front. They just could roll bodies in and out and lose nothing pretty much, and that's the big question. But now if you can do that at linebacker again this year, if you can do that with some of the I still have questions at corner, other than some of the returners. Safety, I love Michael Boganowski. Can he play 80% of the snaps in a game?
His body survive 80%.
And who's after Boganowski? Who's after Peyton Bowen? That to me is you're starting 11. Yes, I think they can be as good as last year's group, maybe better. But when it's the third or fourth series in the game and you want to rotate guys in and out, can those guys hold up? I don't know, and I don't think we're gonna know. Reggie Powers, by the way, looked amazing. Awesome.
Reggie Powers might have been, from just a returning player either side of the ball, the most impressive guy.
Yeah.
Just from a guy that had played last year. I would say same difference with, I don't know who I'm trying to, I thought Jermichael Carter looked pretty good just in guys that played a little bit last year. Manny Choice, definitely a returner that looked pretty good. I'd throw Elijah Thomas kind of in the same boat.
He's always looked
physically
great.
He looks incredible.
I was enamored with one person yesterday. I was enamored with a lot of people. Jermichael Carter, I was enamored with. He looked great, number 5. Looked like he put on some good weight. And you didn't realize, I don't know, it's because the 84, but he is a big dude, tall. Jaden Petit looks the part. He doesn't play, he's one of those guys you can tell he's going to have to adjust to the speed, things like that, but he's a man-child. But number 7, I love
Which
watching
one?
him. Jacob Jordan Enjoyer. You're going to enjoy me talking about Jacob Jordan because he looked awesome yesterday. To me, I don't know. Maybe I'm just caught up in the excited whites.
You guys,
I would love.
Was there anybody out there that you guys thought didn't look good?
That didn't look good? I don't know. I didn't have those glasses on.
That was a joke. It's just we're going through the whole roster. They all look amazing.
Is it okay if I looked at Ivan Carey on? I was like, eh.
That's the.
I thought Ivan looked pretty good. I was like, he must have had a pretty good offseason.
It is funny though because the spring it's just, and even fall camp it's everybody looks great and everything's awesome, but I have a lot of questions.
I do think.
I mean, we're talking about a top 10 preseason team. I mean,
no, I know.
Going to look pretty good.
But we do this every year.
Sure. Here's the thing too: is like
it's the fun part.
I think Jacob Jordan is that guy that every time he gets back to the huddle, the other players are like, "Would you quit trying so hard?" Like he's going like 110% all the time.
I do think he can help them. Like I think he can play. But
well, he doesn't.
How are it's one of the, like I agree. Like I think he is capable of helping them. Will they let him? I don't know about that. So that's the whole thing there. Like I just that
especially when you have Trell Harris and Parker Livingston and Isaiah Satania.
Which we should note, Trell Harris not at practice yesterday. I kind of don't expect him to participate in spring. I think it's nothing major or anything. I think it's just a little cleanup.
Brent might address it tonight. So.
Yeah, I think it's a little cleanup situation, but I think he's going to be fine.
But I wouldn't say any of the...
How crucial do you think that is? Like, I mean, like I could argue that either way. Super experienced, okay, fine, but also being able to develop a little rhythm with Mateer seems important.
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal.
Yeah.
Certainly not ideal. I would have to imagine Mateer will do some extra throwing sessions this summer with him.
I don't think it's as bad as what they went through with Giovanni Gibson, where he just wasn't available.
and that was also like they had no one else.
He didn't break his leg.
Yeah. I expect him to be back for like summer workouts. So I think it's more of a, hey, let's not push this, this spring type of situation.
Josh, I think it's a lot different than somebody that maybe had just played a year in college as opposed to somebody that, he's been around for a while. Trell Harris.
It definitely feels like he could get up to speed. But honestly, talking about Jacob Jordan, tell me I don't have to be on a soapbox all through the fall yelling for Elijah Thomas. Like, I don't want to be that guy.
I can't make any promises, Josh.
Oh, damn it.
I mean, just get him on the field. And at least let me see him fail on the field before you don't give him that opportunity.
If he fails, I'll leave it alone, 100%.
I will say this. It does seem like Elijah Thomas purposefully maybe underruns balls so that he can make fantastic catches at the end. He's always, like, jumping up at the high point and coming down on his back and stuff, like just making fantastical catches and just regular drills.
I think some of those, that's what they're trying to do, though, is high point the football. Not all of them.
He's good at it.
Yeah, he's a freak athlete.
He's
just an unbelievable freak athlete.
Really is.
But yeah, I mean, to me that was the part I didn't get a good look at the Jandrews really. I wanted to see what Jacob Carey looked like, physically.
A lot of the freshman defensive guys I did not see yesterday. I was spending a lot of time.
I know you probably wanted to see Marcus James and what he looked like. I didn't notice him really. Maybe I did see him a little bit, but I know you're impressed with Dane Bathurst and wanted to see him a little bit.
Tate Sandell looked fantastic too.
It was funny. I was watching the tight ends. And just in the background is Tate Sandell just nailing 50-yarders. So I'm just like, yep, that's good.
I mean, it's a luxury to bring back the Lou Groza winner. How many times has a guy come back and defended his Lou Groza?
I don't know.
Have they ever had back-to-back Lou Groza winners?
He's got some motivation because he ended the season on a very sour note.
Yeah.
I mean, missing the 2 field goals
as good as the special teams were all season, it was not great against Alabama.
I also think it's an open competition at punter, by the way. I think Jacob Ulrich
having the edge.
I don't know who has the edge. I think Grayson Miller probably has the edge, considering he had such a good year last year. But I think Jacob Ulrich is definitely fighting for that job.
Based on what I'm seeing, Eddie, no one has ever repeated.
There's been one. There's been one.
Is there?
Yeah. Go to 98, 99.
Oh, God,
Seabass,
you're right.
Sebastian Janikowski, 98, 99.
He almost made kicking cool.
Yeah, I think that's the only one, though.
He tried to make the date rape drug cool, but that didn't work.
Yeah, you don't want to follow that too far down.
Yeah, but I mean, guy, it's crazy. I mean, we went out there and it was a whirlwind for an hour, and I think we've pretty much covered everything that we saw of interest.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm excited to possibly get out there again to kind of flip over and go to the defensive side and see Lamar Morgan, work with some of the guys. Didn't really spend a whole lot of time with him yesterday. It is, Josh, I don't know if you caught it on the post-practice report that we did. Just talking to Peyton Bowen, it's kind of crazy that he's now like one of the lasting standing members of that 23 recruiting class and how important that was at the time?
I mean, he, PJ, and like some other guys that, people know but aren't, because that was like Sammy, that was Jackson Arnold, that was all those guys, and now just gone. And it's just crazy that it's gotten to that point. But some of it's good because, you had – or not some of it's good, but some of it's turned out really well. Peyton Bowen, I think, finally looks like he's ready to be that guy that we all thought he was going to be coming out of Geyer. So, but, yeah, guys, that's one of the things, like, it's really interesting to me about this team. Like, it's experience, but I wouldn't call it old. Like, I think there's still room for, them to get better even as the year goes on.
I think the one thing that came across that, I don't know if it was a surprise, but just from like the post-practice stuff and talking to the players afterwards, I did think it was kind of interesting talking to Kip and John that, we not necessarily deliberated. I think we felt pretty confident about both of those guys coming back. Maybe there was like an hour, maybe 45 minutes that we thought John was going to declare or something. But talking to Kip and John, it definitely seems like there was no decision to be made.
Yeah, I think there was a bit more for Kip. It sounds like he had some tougher discussions maybe, but he definitely played it off yesterday a little bit. But, yeah, John, the way that he said it, because I asked him, I was like, was that a tough decision at all? And he was like, no. And he laughed at the question and was obviously I needed to come back.
But
which is good to hear that he thought that.
You reported this like during the portal and kind of right after the season that he was a big player for a lot of these guys when they came on these visits to come help be a part of this. Like, I'm going to be here.
And that's why, not that I thought that he was ever leaving, because I was pretty adamant. I didn't think he would leave. But there was this weird narrative. It just kept popping up this offseason, like in December and January, like John Mateer's thinking about it. I'm like, I don't think that's true. Like, he's recruiting Parker Livingston and Terrell Harris and Marion Harris and hell, Cole Sullivan. Like, he was in on all of that, Caleb Nita. Who you name it, like he was calling these guys. Isaiah Satania, he recruited him to come back. Like,
did it look to you like Nita was kind of sitting out yesterday a little bit? I don't know if you could see that. It seemed like he was standing over there with Daniel Akinkumi a little bit.
He was fully suited up. I know that he had cleats on and everything.
I want to remind you guys, or tell you guys that today's episode is brought to you by Square. If you don't know about Square, it's a business toolkit that helps you sell, manage, grow without any kind of chaos. Look, we've done a lot of merch sales over the years, and having something like Square is a godsend for you guys if you're a business owner. If you're thinking about starting a business, maybe you've got a salon or a wellness clinic, you can take bookings, you can manage tips, you can track repeat clients. Obviously, restaurants and cafes, you can sync your menus. So it does more than just tap to pay. You can manage deliveries. You can take orders at the table. Retail shops, you can track your inventory across online and in-store. And then those of you like with home repair services, I know it's 90 degrees here. Probably a lot of air conditioning companies out there would like to have someone like Square in their corner to collect payments in the field. And you can even switch between modes in the Square app depending on how you work. But look, Square helps you run your business with confidence, clarity, and less chaos, just like it can help Sooner Scoop when we come out with Eddie's next T-shirt design. Now it's easier than ever to get started, and why wait? Because right now you can get up to $200 off Square hardware at square.com/go/Sooner Scoop. That's SQUARE.com/GO/Sooner Scoop. Run your business smarter with Square. Get started today. And don't forget, $200 off your Square hardware when you sign up, and go to square.com/go/Sooner Scoop. And go just check it out, square.com. Go see what they're all about and what they can do with your business. All right, let's get back to it. I'm trying to think where we left off. John Mateer and helping out people and the announcements that never really were a thing. And no, I do think that, as you said, George, is a little reassuring knowing that John Mateer doesn't think he's better than he is. Like, he's pretty well grounded. Like, I think he knew what his NFL stock was after the year that he had last year.
Yeah, and
not delusion.
One thing about John, and we've said this before, and I know a lot of people out there are like, who cares? You got to win football games, but he's going to be honest. Like, he's never been one to make excuses. I mean, last year he kept telling us like the hand's not a problem. That was a lie. But he was trying to basically be like, hey, like I have to be better. And like I thought it was good to hear him kind of talk yesterday just about like I know I have to be better in every aspect of my game. And I think hearing him talk about the sidearm stuff, watching film, all of those things just feels a little reassuring that maybe, hey, he can figure this out.
Yeah, guys, again, like you're there, so I get to kind of watch it. I think it real like his, I don't know if sincerity is the right way to say it, but it comes through. Like when he talks about stuff, like I get why guys respect him and like him, because there's no like he doesn't shy away from stuff. Like when George, that question you asked him, and he kind of chuckled, like, no, I needed to come back. Like I remember us talking about that back in December. And I was like, that's crazy. It's crazy that it would even be a conversation. And he kind of looked at it, it's apparently the same way. Like, no, he wasn't ready. And that's okay. I just respect the way he handles stuff. And again, I may not always be the number one fan of everything I see on the field. But, like, as a locker room guy, that's the dude you want to play with. Like, I get it. Like, I can understand why there seems to be a lot of reverence for him.
And I think, too, Eddie, you mentioned something, too. Because he said at one point, he's like, I've been a good quarterback, and I am a good quarterback, like corrected himself. And I think that's one thing that they're probably working on him with this offseason, which is just building back up that mental confidence. Because I do think, and we saw it kind of play out throughout the season, I think he got humbled a lot last year. And I think that, the toll that it took on him of, injuring his hand and, not playing well in the Texas game, I think was a big deal to him. And I think he took that very personally. I think he took it very personally that they kind of, in the back half of the season basically said, just don't screw it up offense. Like, I think that having to build his confidence back up is also something that Oklahoma has been very focused on.
I'd be very interested to find out if he's working with somebody from a mental standpoint.
Yeah.
I know, like, when I was in school, like back in like 2008, 2009, they had people on campus, like sports psychologists that were here to work with the athletes. I took one of the classes. It was actually really interesting. He worked with PGA Tour golfers all the time. I can't remember the guy's name. It was a guy and his wife. But neither here nor there. I'd be very interested to see if he's working with somebody like that, because I do think that maybe that is probably the best way to say it, George. He did get humbled a little bit last year, and I'm sure that it was frustrating because he started, and it was kind of like all of us at the beginning of the year. You go beat Michigan, and all of a sudden they're undefeated going into Texas, and it was John Mateer's going to be in New York City at the end of the year. I'm sure that had, as much as you say that you're off social media and you don't pay attention to it, you know it. You know everybody's talking about it.
Right.
And it's just going to be interesting if he can kind of, and I think that, going into the season, that's why it's so important in those first 5 games, whether it be Michigan or New Mexico, which isn't a walkover game, and then obviously the trip to Athens and Dallas. If you could start off really well, not get injured, not have to sit out, not have to be going out to LA to have a hand surgery, maybe you can kind of just roll the momentum into a special year offensively.
Well, we talked earlier about Brent Venables following around the offense the entire day, and that is one thing that's different this spring versus last spring. Last spring, you knew that John Mateer was in here with Ben Arbuckle. That was a story. Those two as a duo, and them knowing the offense and teaching it to everybody else and getting everybody on the same page. And sure, there are a lot of transfers, but John Mateer now has a year under his belt, and like you said, Eddie. The season starts and he's going to New York. He's in the Heisman discussion, and he kind of led with his swagger and he brought everybody along. Then the injury happened, and he fought, like you're talking about, George, his own confidence and what he was seeing and talking about trusting his eyes a lot in post-game interviews. But as we also talked about, people are still following him. People still believe in him. And I, talking to Taylor Wine yesterday, the defense is going to grow. David Stone out there on the field, even though he can't participate, he's basically another coach out there on the field. He's in the middle of the scrums. He's yelling at guys, telling them what they did wrong on that rep, what they did right. But now the offense starts a season where they actually have leadership for the first time since really Dylan Gabriel's second year. They've never had that with Jackson Arnold because he just was a freshman. They didn't have this. They did go to the college football playoffs with John Mateer. He battled a lot of injuries, so they looked to him as the leader. Like, we're talking about the offense needing to be better. That's one thing I feel really good about is they have a guy that they can look to, and we're talking about the offensive line. That has to build, and Jake Michael, being an older guy, can help that. Isaiah Satania, I don't know that he's the most vocal guy, but certainly can lead by example. And then Jason Witten is a coach on staff. Like, how does he not inspire you? Like, this offense, and Ben Arbuckle is intense as anybody as an offensive coordinator. So I like the starting position of this offense in terms of building guys and building a locker room and building chemistry.
Yeah, it's just so hard because I want to see it now, right? Like, we went out there and it's like I'm itching. Like, I want to see them play a game now because
I want to talk to Ben.
Yeah, I want to talk to Ben Arbuckle too and just see, is there anything that they're changing, anything that they're doing differently? Like, and obviously he's not going to tell us schemes and things like that, but I'd love to know, like, looking back, because I remember talking to him, the last time we talked to him was after the Alabama game, and he just kind of said, like, we have to take a big step this offseason as an offense, and I'm curious, like, how is he going about that? Because this is the first time in his career, just like Mateer, that he's kind of had like a setback or a year that, hey, you didn't live up to expectations. Because so far Arbuckle, he's what, 30, 31 years old?
29 when he was hired, I believe.
He's only called plays. I think this will be his 5th season ever in college football calling plays. And the first, 3 were really good. I mean, it's why he got the Oklahoma job. But last year just wasn't good enough. How does he respond to that? And that's the part that, for me, we're going to be sitting here talking for the next 6-7 months until they go to Ann Arbor, and we're just really not going to know, what is this thing going to look like? But on paper, I agree, Carey, and just being out there and seeing it a little bit yesterday, you like what it looks like right now.
Eddie, it's the craziest thing being down there on the field pregame, even during the game with Ben Arbuckle. I mean, the way that you think he's playing in the game. Like, he's pacing the sideline. He's very intense. Like, I remember, maybe it was the Ole Miss game. It was a game, maybe in the Missouri game. I can't remember, but there was a play where OU, I think they got stuffed on the goal line or something like that. And he walked down to the corner of the end zone and stared up at the Jumbotron, just trying to see what happened on that play, and just staring a hole in the
which play was it?
North side video board. There was a play, and I can't remember. It might have been. It was later in the season, but they didn't convert a fourth and short near the goal line. And I can't remember what game that would have been now. It's kind of a fog. But, I mean, I just bring up that example because I've never seen another offensive coordinator like him in terms of the intensity during games. It's just it's uncommon. So I guess what the point I'm trying to make.
Some of it might be just because OU's had offensive coordinators that have perennially been upstairs. You never see them.
Yeah. Well, Lincoln was down.
Sure.
And he was pretty intense. I mean, he had his little note card.
But what I guess the point I'm trying to make is,
you could still sometimes see his vagina, though.
If he wants to let Kevin Wilson in, to his playbook a little bit, or Dylan McCullough, like, he seems like a guy that is willing to do whatever it's going to take to make this offense better in the SEC.
Yeah, I think he definitely has some, and part of it, Carey, I think, is just the youthfulness of him, right? Like, I think he's so green in a lot of ways, and that's some of that intensity.
Like, what's his humility level? I'd be really curious to know that. I'd be curious to talk to Kevin Wilson, just frankly, like, how much is this guy willing to admit he doesn't know what he doesn't know?
Yeah. Well, I think probably clearly a lot, because I think that's him being okay with Kevin Wilson coming in and getting the big raise that he got, which I would assume means a bigger role. Like, I think Arbuckle knows he needs some help fixing this thing.
And I think the thing is, like, you do have a guy like Lincoln here for so long that did everything. I think that's a guy that doesn't know how to admit what he doesn't know. But Brent comes from a place where they probably had a lot more collaboration offensively with I don't know what Tony Elliott really operated, but I got to think that Brent seems like a guy that's open to collaboration, and in the way that he has coaching buddies that I don't think we really even knew he had. Like, he seemed like he's networked a lot more than I thought he did, and I think he believes in that.
Did you guys see the video? The only reason to bring this up and maybe think of it. Did you guys see the video that the Baltimore Ravens put out with their interview with Jesse Minter, like the general manager and the president. It was pretty cool. But Jesse Minter was talking about how he had talked to him and Mike McDonald talk a lot during the season, which I thought was kind of interesting. I wonder if Brent talks to, like, does he talk to Kirby a lot? Like, or do they run into each other?
I don't think they do in the season. I think
do they swap ideas though?
Yeah.
Like as two bright defensive minds in the game.
Yeah, I think they have a respect for each other, and that they do. I don't know if they share things like schematically and stuff like that, but I think they have a respect for each other.
Yeah.
I've just never heard of an NFL coach like just openly saying like, yeah, I talked to the other head coach. We talked quite a bit. And maybe it was different.
Unless it's like someone that's been on Sean McVay's staff. And
which coach I think he's the closest with? And this is not based off anything other than just the way he interacts with people out down in Destin at the spring meetings, is Sarkisian. I think he's closest with him in the SEC.
Mm-hmm. I could see that.
I don't know.
Interesting.
Just the way that they interact. I mean, maybe it's because they see each other every year and they've known each other before. Either one went to the SEC, and obviously they probably see each other on the recruiting trail more than anyone else, but they certainly, are very cordial.
I almost think there's a little bit of a rivalry there too, though. Between
I think it's like a
respect.
I mean, Mac Brown and Bob Stoops were probably like that,
where
they kind of hated each other, but they're also like, he's a damn good football coach.
Yeah.
Not sure how to tackle your taxes? Are you sweating the small print? You may be experiencing FOMO, the fear of messing up. The answer? Using TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. With a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. It's time to take your taxes to the max. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
It's interesting. I mean, this is what, this is what I like if OU keeps winning, is we can kind of chip away at that kind of stuff, those kind of questions to Brent.
Yeah.
Kind of like when I asked him if he's hard to coach.
Yeah, we don't have to ask the, like, hey, how are you going to fix this damn thing?
Yeah.
We can stop asking that.
That would be nice. Or answering the questions on Around the Corner, how many more losses until Brent gets
who's in charge of the running back rotation? I think I've asked that.
I think we should put a full 1-year kibosh on any type of firing anybody from the staff
until they lose week 2.
It's the hypotheticals.
Well, yeah, if they lose, everything's off.
It's the hypotheticals that drive you crazy, though. It's
lose
like,
a game. It's
what
over.
if Brent goes 7-5? Like, would he get fired then? It's like,
I like the recruiting questions that Josh is just supposed to predict the future of what a 17-year-old's thinking.
Did you see my title for that video thumbnail?
No.
Josh Stradamus.
I like that.
The last one was a doozy. I mean, they were asking you to invent situations where someone might transfer or someone might flip that OU from some unknown destination that OU would end up getting.
Yeah, there's like four things would have to align for that to become even possible, to forget actually happening. So and no diss, like I get like that's part of recruiting is like trying to see stuff like that, but it's nuts to try and predict it. Like you're just gonna be wrong.
I was telling George this the other day. Like I think that's a positive, Josh, because we do such a good job of telling people what's going to happen that they just think that we know we can predict what's going to happen. I mean,
yeah.
It's not a bad place to be when people want you to predict.
It's a compliment. Like, because, I mean, if they were like, well, Josh, what is this, like, what's this guy going to do? We've talked about that. It's largely been covered. So you've got to kind of go afield to find something that you want to discuss.
We should be able to ask questions back, like, who's going to be the next scapegoat for the fan base?
Roger Denny.
Roger Denny?
Yeah, he already is.
I mean, well, yeah.
People lost their mind with his
sure.
basketball statement.
If football has a problem, it'll probably Nagy for putting together the roster probably would be up there.
But who on the football team? Like who?
Oh, actually on the team.
I want to know when or will they ever turn on Jason Witten?
I mean, they'll turn on anybody. I mean, it's a fan base.
They turned on DeMarco.
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying I think that was unjust. I'm saying
I've seen Josh Heupel get turned on.
Jason Witten, sure.
It'll take years,
I've seen DeMarco to get turned on. Brent's already been turned on. We might have turned on him a little bit.
We were just asking the question. We were just asking questions and trying to find answers.
Doing our job.
It will take years, I think, for Jason Witten. Like he's further on down the list. But I will say, like, if things go to plan, Jason Witten probably not around long enough to actually ever catch any blame. Like, just watching him coach yesterday, it's a 30-minute window of, what you hope is years to come. But I was very impressed with just kind of how in-depth he was with what he was asking him to do in relatively simple drills, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like very detailed.
And maybe he doesn't know a clue about what he's talking about, but I just watching him like, yeah, I think he knows what he's doing. Yeah, and not that we didn't think Joe John. I think Joe John,
he knows what he's doing.
No, he knows what he's doing. I don't think it was getting across in a lot of ways.
To me, that's not a lot of difference than what Brent was when he was just he was never just a linebackers coach, but he was the position coach when he was a co-coordinator. He used to sit there and tell us about, players' first steps when the ball was snapped and how obsessed he was with making sure that was correct.
And that's what I've noticed about Witten. He is very detailed.
That's what I saw yesterday.
Yeah, like foot placement, turning when you're supposed to, like all of those little tiny details.
Like they were doing a drill where you just ran out, did a quick stutter stop, and then went on. He stopped half of the group before they even got to the stutter stop.
Yes, and he was doing the same with the blocking drill. He was talking about you can't have this 1 foot move one way, and he's like having them do it again. And again, I don't know what that actually means, and some of it's
maybe he overcomplicates it, and the tight end position sucks this year.
I have no idea, but I do think though that like just by sure body size, they should be better. Like, I mean, I'd have to think the talent in that room is just way different than a year ago.
I have
my heart's just singing hearing all of this. This is just beautiful.
I have something.
The bar is low.
Fair.
I'm not saying it's bothering me, but I want to get you guys' opinion on this because I sat around with a group of OU fans last weekend, and they're longtime season ticket holders. They're the reason that I, started going to OU games as a 6th grader, 5th grader, and they've been sitting on the west side forever and put a lot of money into the OU program over the years. And I know this is something you hear people talk about all the time. I don't know. I don't want to release how much they pay for their seats and stuff like that. It's a lot. But sitting there talking to them about what's getting ready to happen with the stadium renovations, knowing that these are people that have money, and the cost of sitting in that section with what they're doing with the suites and lower seat level stuff, like the amount of money that they're being asked to pay to stay where they are is so prohibitive. They could afford it. They could do it if they wanted to, but we're talking about Oklahomans, conservative people, not wasteful, and they're just kind of sickened by what's going on. And it's not the first time it's made me say this or think this, because it's kind of like the Norman Entertainment District. It's like my opinion has morphed a little bit since this has all been put out there. But like I get that Oklahoma is at a little bit of a disadvantage population-wise, alumni-based, donor-base-wise. I am starting to become of the opinion that what they are doing is wrong, in that taking seats from people that are passionate about Oklahoma football, that create a great environment, that make game days what they are, the rumble that you hear from down on the field. And this last year, probably my opinions changed a little because I was down on the field doing photos this year, and this has been my favorite year in a very long time. It helped that they were better this year. But being down there on the field, Eddie, you're down there every game. You get to experience what it's like in a great game. And I don't know, would you say like this last year, the Michigan game, the Ole Miss game for the most part, like most of the home games, like the crowds were as good as they've been in years?
Probably, yeah. Probably. I mean, yeah, they were great.
So, I mean, I think that whole, having fans in bleachers close to the field, like, I'm just old, but I cannot get away from feeling like taking that away in place of people that spend a ridiculous amount of money just to be in the stadium that may not be, adding to a great college atmosphere is wrong. And that OU might be crossing the line of doing what's best for the sport. And, let's face it, Memorial Stadium, it's a church. People talk about football as a religion all the time. People are going there essentially to worship. It's their place to celebrate what they love. And I think you're taking a lot of those people out of play in order to make more money, which I get. You need to make more money. You have to compete. People can come back to me and say, well, they have to do this, Carey, because they can't raise the money that a Texas can or a Texas A&M or other schools in the SEC, but at what cost? I feel like the cost is too high for what they're doing. I don't know how you guys feel.
I agree
that was
with
quite
you.
A rant. That was a great rant.
It was an out-of-body experience.
I 100% agree with you, Carey, but at the end of the day, I think we're going to be told tough shit. Here come the Cranes.
Yeah, and I also think you're going to be told tough shit.
I hate that.
I also think that in 10 years, everybody's going to be doing the exact same thing. I think
we've seen the height of college football.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote about it. There's like a dozen other major Power 4 programs.
Florida State did it first, pretty much.
Right, but and I don't know how. I mean, it's going to be somewhat similar to Florida State, but like there's a bunch of other programs that already have this lined up that they're working on this. So like OU's not alone in it. I also think, and I totally agree with you. Like I hate that these loyal fans of because I know people too that are having to get moved or they're gonna have to pay an astronomical number to keep their seats.
I mean, we're talking
or even to move. Like they have to
like 10 times their donor.
Yeah, I know
levels.
it's insane.
Yeah.
I just don't think that here's the problem: is those people may not pay. I think OU's going to find, or they've already found people who will pay, and they don't care. They're just gonna take their money.
The thing that sucks, I think, in the end, is yes, they will find people that will spend that money, but I don't think it's going to be people as much as it's going to be corporations.
Right.
And those corporations are going to send people that
don't really care about the game.
We got 45 tickets to this suite on Saturday in Norman. Texas A&M's in town.
Yeah.
Half of those people might be Texas A&M fans. Half of those people might be Arkansas fans that just happen to live in Oklahoma City.
And we'll see what happens. I'm curious.
I mean, and here's the thing. I mean, college football's doing this, but nobody in the NBA is doing this. I mean, courtside's still a big deal in the NBA. Like,
but those
like,
people
look who's
you're priced
courtside.
out. You're priced out.
You are, but
courtside.
I mean, those people are still fans, and it's only a couple of rows of them.
At the Thunder, it is, but like, I would say the majority of courtside people in
LA probably don't care about.
Yeah, I mean, like in like. I'm sure there's even people in Oklahoma City that some of them are corporate seats, and same with the suites. Like it's just the corporatization of all sports.
I wish there was a way that they could make the money and not do all the sweet stuff down by the field.
Yeah. Well, I just think if you could just move, in the renderings, my biggest gripe is the suites being so low. If you just move them up to the upper deck and keep the lower bowl as is,
make almost like a student section almost.
Yeah, it'd be different. It would be a different conversation. But having him that low is just, I don't know.
Removing all of those bleachers.
Yeah, I don't.
I've never sat in them, but I've always thought like the worst seat at Jerry World has to be those suites on the field.
Yeah,
you can't see anything.
And I don't know if they're going to be that. I have to look back. I don't think they're going to be that low, but they're going to be low. I mean, they're going to be in the lower bowl. And
right.
I know Florida State fans were pissed and still are pissed about the renovations that they did. So
I will say, though, just in terms of like having to be relocated, my parents were relocated out of the South End Zone when they redid it in 2016. In the end, it's all worked out pretty damn well. Like my parents love where they sit now. It's all worked out. But yeah, it is different. It's going to be different. It sucks.
How much of that, like, don't get me wrong, money's a different part of the conversation. Like, I get that is a tangible difference. How much do you think people are pissed off just because people generally don't like change? Like they don't want to be moved seats. I've sat here for 20 years and blah, blah, blah. Like my dad was the same. Like I get it. But I feel like some of the stuff is just like I don't want to do it different because this is the way I've always done it. I've come in at the same gate. I've done it this way.
Yeah.
And I wonder how much of that is just like, and again, I think it's just human nature.
I think a lot of it is just, Carey, I don't know about the people that you talk to, but maybe like the condescending nature of you can still sit here. It's just going to be about $25,000 a seat in donation.
God.
It's ridiculous.
Or whatever it is.
Oh, it's not
25,000 was the number that was thrown out to me per seat.
No, it's six figures in that section.
Per seat?
For your total, for your initial donation.
Yeah, that would make sense. I mean, it would be like for 4 seats, it'd be over 100,000. And I get it too. Like I've talked to other people that have like, my family has 12 seats on the west side of the stadium, and they're basically saying you can still have these seats. You already make the donation, but you can't buy 12 anymore. You have to. We're gonna have to cap you at, I don't know what the number is. I think it's 8 maybe.
Yeah.
Which I kind of is what it is.
I'd love to know. Maybe we'll get to talk to him soon. But Roger Denny's take on this, because I do wonder.
He came in when the plan was already developed, and
yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you can actually change at this point. But
in a way, I think that decision, if there is a decision to be made, just in terms of what they want to do on the west side, that's almost a bigger decision than what he had to just make with Porter.
Yeah, and how much say does he really have? Because if this is something that donors are coming to OU and saying, we want this, like, we're going to pay you for it, it's OU's in a spot of like, well, we can't say no to this amount of money.
Yeah.
You know?
If that's it, like, Eddie, I guess I didn't know about the seating cap thing. Like, that wouldn't that tend to hinder the idea of corporate being able to buy like 20 seats, 40
I think that's
seats, or whatever?
That's going to be for suites. I think corporate's going to snag up all the suites. I don't think you're going to find like a family that's going to go and spend however X figure amount it is to buy a suite at the game. It's going to be Exxon or whatever company in Oklahoma City.
And part of it will also be the people that are the foundational donors that are funding that west side. Like they'll get certain suites and for how many ever years or whatever. I don't know. It's one of those things when you think about all this crap in Norman that's going on right now, and it's just another thing that adds to it. Like, what are we doing? It's just
sounds like we're moving dirt. Start the Red Rocks, whatever the hell they call it.
I don't want to. I already said something about the city of Norman on the boards, and it just went batshit crazy in Twitter.
Well, just wait till Facebook comes together. I mean, you might have to be called into the city council if it makes it all the way to Facebook.
It was innocuous what I said. I just said, anyway, I don't want to get. It was about.
I thought it was pretty funny, Carey.
It was about how Norman is so unwelcoming. Like, I don't know. Like, it is just like, want to buy a car? No. Want to go to the hospital? No. Want to go to the army? No. Get out! Like, or you want to go to the mall that's got 3 stores left in it? Or, Olive Garden's nice. I like Olive Garden.
Yeah, they definitely don't want a basketball arena. That's for damn sure.
But we could probably find a spot for you if you want to join Antifa.
There's some things that could be.
I do want to make an announcement. I will be boxing. SAE Boxing's returning to Campus Corner. I will be boxing Kimberly Blodgett. Blodgett? What's her name?
Is that the city councilwoman?
The city councilwoman.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know your horoscope though?
Not today. I'm a Pisces. I know that.
Oh my God! The city council, man. I was gripped when they were doing the YouTube things. I don't know. I think George and I were watching those almost every night.
Yeah, I could not bring myself to watch that.
Comedic relief.
Guys, just being away from Oklahoma. Like every time I come back to Oklahoma City, I'm amazed by how much the city's developed, how much it's changed, how much it's grown. And then I'm in Norman, and I'm like, this feels like when I was in college 25 years ago.
Yeah,
like it hasn't changed. I mean, there are little things, obviously, but like just in general, it feels the same or worse. Like something's gone out of business that I used to love. Kind of thing.
It's like no one has realized that nobody can figure out how to park on Campus Corner, and they tried to build a parking garage, but they said no, that'll cover up McFarland. And now they got a 4-tower high-rise apartment complex, like right next to where they would have built the parking garage. It's like,
Eddie, I have your horoscope here in front of me. for today.
I feel like every time somebody reads a horoscope, I go, "Yeah, that sounds right."
What's Kimberly
This does sound
Blodgett's
like you.
birth? What's her?
I can't remember, but here's Eddie's horoscope. This is a fun-loving, playful day.
Yeah.
Accept invitations to schmooze and party, as well as enjoy sports events and fun activities with kids. Exercise and a chance to burn some energy will invigorate you.
Yeah.
Accept any opportunity that comes your way to express your creative talents. Today is a positive day.
Well, today's a very negative
Come
day.
on,
The
Eddie.
Cubs
Let's
are
have a
0-1.
day.
But Cade Cavalli did get the win, so how about that?
Maybe they need a four-arm amputee or four-person. What do they call that? What's the amputee that killed the guy?
What was it?
Quad
amputee. Not
amputee.
quadriplegic.
He was a quad amputee. Yeah.
Yeah. I did say on the radio this week, that's kind of the guy that got shot's fault. You should not get shot by a guy with no arms and no legs. Like I just feel like there should be steps to prevent that.
About it.
There should be steps that prevent that.
Yeah, it's called running sideways.
Just like, why couldn't they just kick him over? Like,
It's called
kick the gun out of his hand.
Zigzagging. I have seen a lot of AI videos that are pretty funny related to that.
Yeah, same. Yep. There has been some.
Josh, I was asking the guys about this the other day, and they were not aware of it. Have you seen like the videos of the game where the gnomes break into that old guy's house? No. And they're trying to find a gun.
Carey, you're on some weird shit, man.
I am. I'm not going to deny. My algorithm is weird, probably. At least it's not all porn.
My algorithm's a horror show.
Just be proud of me.
Thanks to one of my buddies.
Just be proud that not all my algorithm is porn. Or that I retweet porn accidentally. You get fired.
I've got a buddy that has shaped way too much of it, and it's a dark, dark place. So he sends me way too many reels.
Oh, your friends are insane.
My friends are terrible human beings. I can say
we learned that
question.
back in the old Greg days. Like your sense of humor is just a little different, and your friends.
Yeah, there's no question. And old Greg still makes me laugh my ass off. So that's still amazing.
I'm just kind of whittled down to Israel, Iran, college chicks, and a little bit of college football and baseball.
Oh man,
it's a pretty good algo, I must say.
Pretty good Kill Tony algorithm going for a while, but that's kind of disappeared.
That's only where I get my news.
Have you guys seen the SNL where the girls are like, let's show each other our For You page?
Oh, that's the great.
And the guy swallows it.
No.
He's like,
it's your Explore page, like. Because if I look at mine now, that's where the boobs come into play. They're just everywhere.
There would, yep. Not going to pretend there wouldn't be a little bit of that on mine as well. I'm not going to be ashamed.
So how about Will Wade?
Oh my God! Talk about bankrupt morality. That's the LSU athletic department.
I mean, the trio of Lane Kiffin, Will Wade, and Kim Mulkey is all time. It's unbelievable.
That is a force that could maybe reckon with Bibi Netanyahu.
LSU is so transparent that I almost respect it.
Yeah.
Like, we don't give a f***. Like, we're just going to do what we want to do and birds to everybody who thinks anything of it. Like, I kind of respect it.
What's the number right now that they're saying that they're going to have in terms of dead money next year? Like, it's over, like, I want to say $150 million. Just
taking it all from the Children's Hospital, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so for a state that is desperately broke.
Brett Favre could be hired on. I mean, I would have put it past him to be hired on as some type of, I don't know, like in charge of their name, image, likeness or something.
Kim Mulkey.
Hell of a fundraiser.
They put like Sandusky's family in charge of the
By the way, Kim Mulkey's easily the best coach of those three.
She's the most accomplished for sure.
Yeah.
And
I've kind of
the worst person.
I think
I would rank her third.
I
would rank her third on that
Josh.
list.
She's not even top. She's not even the worst women's college basketball coach out there in terms of scumbaggery. And if you turn on the television and watch Oklahoma at 4:00, you'll see the number one. Dawn Staley's the worst. She is the worst person. I hate her.
I got to be honest. I haven't really.
I guess I'm not.
I'm not in. I'm not in the
know
know either. Every time he says that, I'm like, I think she's a really good coach.
I could coach that team. I could do what she does.
Yeah, but could you get all those players there?
Probably not. That's why she has a better upper hand.
Kiffin's at least funny. Will Wade got in trouble for shit that everybody does now. Kim Mulkey just sucks. I mean, she's a great coach, but she just sucks as a human.
What I hate is like there are people like Will Wade that just get forgiven for the stuff that he did, which was highly, highly illegal.
Of course.
Whereas Kelvin Sampson got marked for text messaging people too much.
It's just kind of at the time. I think everybody's kind of – nobody talks about that now with Kelvin, do
No,
they?
that's true.
Well, it's like Terrell Pryor. Like, dude got tattoos.
Yeah.
And, was like, oh, my God, he may never get to play college football ever again.
Dude, I totally forgot, the whole Maurice Clarett thing, how the Ohio State fans turned on him simply for saying that he wanted to be the first person to enter the draft after his freshman year. He was marked with a scarlet letter for that.
Was it that, or was it because he was drinking
well, he was
Hennessy on the sidelines?
He was stealing car stereos, and stuff like that. But that happened after.
I hung out with guys in high school that stole car stereos.
You did, probably.
I did. Pudgy. Shout out. Rest in peace as well.
Wow.
Aaron Hernandez.
Did he steal? I mean, he did a little murder,
Probably
but I don't know if he ever stole.
He probably stole guns. Can't kill people with guns you buy at the store. Can you?
Well, I think he probably stole the guns,
if you're
too.
especially stupid, you can.
Well, that might fit Aaron Hernandez. Rest in peace.
Yep.
Friend of the program.
Respect.
Wow. I think we should end the pod. We've traveled down a rabbit hole that...
Shout out, though,
Sweet
Sweet 16,
Yeah.
Saturday, OU women.
OU women,
17-point
very excited
underdogs.
for the next two nights with the men in the Sweet 16. I feel like, if you want to say the tournament has sucked or whatever, that's fine. I don't think it's sucked, but these 8 games are going to be fantastic on the men's side.
Yeah, I was talking about the women.
I know. I'm talking about the men.
Are you
stealing your thunder.
Are you guaranteeing a trip to the Final Four for the women if they get past South Carolina?
Not guaranteeing, but I think that they would have good odds.
I think they would beat TCU, Virginia, right?
Yeah, and I think they could, and it will likely be TCU. I think OU could match up with TCU, and I think it'd be a great game. They're going to have to play a damn near perfect game to beat South Carolina a second time.
Chris Marler asked me this afternoon, what does OU just need to do, straight up? Is it more of the first time, or that first time when they, South Carolina did not play well in that game?
I think they're going to have to shoot somewhere close to 50% from three.
They're going to have to make 10 threes?
Yes, which they have not done all year. They've not been able to shoot that well.
And Eddie, Skip is atop the SEC standings.
Yeah, along with 6 other teams.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot of people at 4 and 2.
I don't care how bad LSU's playing right now. You go down to Baton Rouge and you take a series, you've done something. That was an unbelievable comeback not unbelievable, but great comeback just over the Friday and Saturday to come back after getting beat 7-1. The opener, Cam Johnson, wasn't very good. He's moving back a start or a day, so he'll be starting on Friday. The series starts tonight down in Austin with LJ Mercurius on the mound. If you can go take 2 or 3 from Texas, and I'm going into the weekend just saying, just win one. That's kind of the cliche line. Don't get swept on the road. Win your home series. You're going to like where you're at the end of the year. If they can go down there and win 2 or 3 against Texas, who's number 2 in the country right now, I think you start thinking okay, can this team compete for an SEC title? Can they be a top 8 seed? And even if you lose the series this weekend, that's probably somewhat still on the table. But fantastic start. They've been really, really good. Their starting pitching hasn't been great over the last couple of weeks, but I'm telling you, and I know that we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. We'll talk about it on the Diamond Report at some point as well. What they're doing from a bullpen standpoint right now, it's the best bullpen OU's maybe ever had. Certainly under Skip Johnson.
Take you a very, very long way in college baseball.
I mean, Xander Mercurius has been awesome. Jason Bowden's been awesome. Jackson Cleveland's been awesome. Gavin Jones has been good. Jaden Barfield's been okay. Michael Catalano's been okay. They have guys. They have multiple amount of arms that can throw you through a weekend. So been a really good start. It's going to be kind of fun to see what they do over the next couple of days. And I know that while we're talking about it, Diamond Sport-wise, Jen Rocha. Sounds like she's going to be back in the saddle this weekend, coming back and rejoining the team after missing, the first 30 games of the season, basically, with a personal issue. And if nothing else, that should give them a little bit of a bump. I know that it sounds like Sydney Berzon's kind of starting to come on a little bit more in the circle for them, and just all positives. And they've hit 1,000 home runs here over the course of the season.
By the way, literally
1,000 home runs. They've hit 1,000.
Great news though about the OU Texas series. All those games going to be on the ESPN network, not Plus.
Yeah.
So if you've got cable in the area and you've got the ESPN network or SEC network, you can watch all those games tonight starting at 7. And it's the only series this year that they're going to have that's going to be straight SEC network. So,
yeah, Lowell Galindo and Keith Moreland, former Chicago Cub, obviously a Texas guy, but I think they do a pretty good job.
All right, Josh, we got a full recruiting report. I know you're going to New Orleans this weekend to check out OU's future quarterback, but I don't know, anything that you came up in the last 24 hours you want to throw out there before we get out of here?
No, but definitely, just excited. Going to catch up with Jamison Roberts. Going to get some video of him. Get a first real look at him. I mean, we've talked about him a ton, but I'm super excited. Obviously it's in New Orleans. There's going to be guys from Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana. There's going to be more guys that we're going to talk about going forward as well. So it won't be just Jamison, but I mean, obviously he'll be the real focus of what we're doing there. And I am anxious to see him. It's kind of like Carey last year when we went and saw Bo, like in the spring, and just kind of getting that first, like you knew what you'd seen, you knew what you'd heard, but to really get to watch him and kind of see how he goes through things.
How many games of Bo's did you take in where he played? I know he was hurt there late in the season.
Yeah, I saw him early in the year, and then another game I was going to go to, he got hurt, and he wasn't sure he was going to play, so I ended up going to I went and saw Mikhail McCreary that week. So I just saw him the once, and then because, again, even like I knew some people at Salina pretty well. Obviously nobody that got in any kind of trouble here recently.
Now, the offensive line was in yesterday to practice. Offensive lineman from Salina. I don't know how.
Big guy.
Yeah, big
Goodson,
dude.
Dylan Goodson. Yeah. And a 2028 guy. So there's still some time for him. But yeah, and that's kind of what I want to see. Like, where is Jamison? It's going to be a camp setting, so it's not going to be apples to apples of watching Bo last spring. But just, I want to watch his mechanics. I want to watch him throw. I want to watch his footwork, some of that kind of stuff where you can kind of see how developed he is. Because, again, people forget last year was Jamison's first year as a starter in high school. He'd sat behind KJ Lacey, who's at Texas now.
Well, the reason I was asking about seeing Bo, we went down there that day, and it was kind of I don't want to say it was a walk-through practice, but, it was a spring practice. Wasn't a lot of urgency. I think the one thing that we saw out of Bo that day is just what great accuracy he had. Mm-hmm. But what stood out to me watching him, and again, I don't want to get all the hype going, but how compact and quick his release is as a quarterback. It was like shocking to me.
And that'll be interesting with Jamison because he's a bigger, longer guy. I mean, he's not 6'5" or something, but he's definitely a bigger guy than Bo. And I do want to see that same thing. But again, where I expect him to excel is like vertical passing. Like when you watch him on tape, that dude just drops dimes 30 yards down the field. Like just beautiful touch. And again, for a guy that hadn't really done it at that level and plays at Sarrell in a big-time program in Alabama. They went to the state semis, just missed getting to the state finals. So, a team that has state title aspirations. So, for him to do what he did and have a big year, I'm really intrigued. And again, I just never can get over how quickly OU locked on him. And so that always kind of gives him like a little mystique for me. Like I just really want to watch him work.
All right, that's going to do it for this week's edition. It's going to be fun, guys. We're out at practice a lot. We're going to get to see a lot of stuff, hopefully. Interviews. We'll talk to Brent Venables today. Stay on the YouTube page because we'll have plenty of practice reports. The YouTube editorial page for all the interviews that we get at practice as well. And obviously the Unofficial 40 be going every week and hot and heavy. And Josh will be having his recruiting report early next week after his visit to New Orleans for camp. So appreciate everybody listening, and we'll be back again next week for another edition of the Unofficial 40 podcast right here on Soonerscoop.com.